What's going on, everybody? I appreciate you checking in. All right, I want to jump on here and talk about kind of our offensive side and players that, in my opinion, I think need to break out this season in order for our offense to reach its full potential, to potentially match what this defense is going to bring to the table and bring to the field every single week to hopefully, finally, once again, be a playoff team. And so I kind of want to come on here and kind of give you my takes on it. So get ready in that comment section. Let me know your feedback and let me know if you agree or not. But and just so you guys know, I'm not going to touch on the quarterback position. Obviously, we need great quarterback play. So I'm going to dive into the depth chart. Obviously, I have it up on the screen, but I'm not going to talk about the quarterbacks just yet. Obviously, quarterbacks need to thrive in order to get the full potential, but I'm going to talk about all the other positions and who I think really need to excel to get the best out of this offense. And so before we get into it, if you can, please like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications. Next giveaway is at 4,000 subscribers. If you want to be included in that, hit that subscribe button. Not only will you be included in this next giveaway, but all my future giveaways. This will be my fourth giveaway since starting this channel last October. And so this is just my way of saying thank you and giving back to everybody. And so let's kind of jump into it. All right. Number one guy that I think needs to have a breakout season, and I got it up on the screen, is Zamir White. I think Zamir White has to have a breakout season. We did not re-sign Josh Jacobs. Zamir White is going into his third year. He needs to prove he could be that feature back. He needs to prove that he could be that 1,000-yard back. We did bring Alexander Madsen. A lot of people are talking about Dylan Labe. He might get some touches as well. If he continues to prove to be the player that people think he's going to be once, now that we have pads on, we'll see kind of how that plays out. But Alexander Madsen, he's going to get his carries as well, but Zamir White has to prove that he can be that number one back, that 1,000-yard back, and set the tone. Be that tone center. He's put on some weight. I do think he's embracing that fact that he's going to be that short yardage back, that goal line back, which is huge. I think he can do it. There's things that I think he needs to improve on from last year, but even though he had some good games last year at the tail end of the season when Josh Jacobs went down, prior to that, a lot of people were talking about him possibly being a bust, not making it. And so I think he still has a lot to prove. But in order for Luke Getsy's system to thrive based on what I've seen him do in the past, I broke down his offense. When we hired Luke Getsy, I broke down his offense, and he's going to rely a lot on the run game, not just because it's what he's done in the past, but we don't have gunslinger sitting back there at the quarterback position. When you talk about Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, they're not going to be throwing the ball 45, 50, 55 times a game. That's just not the way it's going to work. Luke Getsy does run a very balanced offense, but we also have quarterbacks that need to run a balanced offense. We need the running game to help out our quarterback and kind of vice versa. And so Zamir White's got to prove that he could be that number one back and that we don't regret not signing Josh Jacobs. So let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think Zamir White's going to hit that 1,000-yard mark? Let me know in the comment section down below. And then next up, in my opinion, is Trey Tucker. I think Trey Tucker has to have a breakout year. He's got to be that player that can put fear in the defense that we have a good deep ball, because we have so many offensive weapons, receiver threats, whether it be Devonta Adams, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers now, Michael Mayer. All these guys are going to be able to eat underneath, that 30 yards and under area. Devonta Adams is no longer that consistent or true deep threat. Can he win those 50 balls? Absolutely. But he's not necessarily a deep threat. Jacoby Myers isn't that deep threat. Brock Bowers kind of remains to be seen just how he's going to be utilized. I think he's going to be kind of that Swiss Army knife. He's going to do a lot. But we need that one consistent threat. We need that guy that we can throw the ball deep to 2, 3, maybe 4 times a game and at least hit 2 to 3 deep balls. I'd love to see us pressure that ball or push that ball downfield, and I'd love to see us hit at least a minimum of 2 40-yard passes downfield at least, because that just forces those safeties to now sit in, instead of 13 to 15 yard area, they're going to now stretch it to 17. they're gonna make sure that they stay on top of Trey Tucker so they don't give away that deep ball. That's the worst thing you can do as a defense is just give up that deep ball. That's just giving up easy yards to the offense. You don't want to do that. So we need someone that not only has the speed to stretch it deep, but the one thing that Trey Tucker has to do is he's got to work on securing the catch. That's the one thing that I was worried about him last year was even though he did have some deep balls and he did catch some balls, he bobbled a lot. There was a lot of times where it just didn't look like he securely caught that ball. I want him to work on that. So I think Trey Tucker has to have a breakout year this season in order for us to get the full potential out of this offense. So let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think Trey Tucker is that deep threat we've been looking for and consistently catch that deep ball to make sure that defense stays honest? Let me know in the comment section down below. And then the next guy, we're going to go and touch on the offensive line. The next guy, in my opinion, is Thayer Munford. I think Thayer Munford has to have a breakout year because we did not, like a lot of people, I was one of them. I wanted us to pick up a right tackle first round. It didn't play out that way. I wanted us to pick up Talisi Fuaga. Instead, we went with Brock Bowers. We'll see how that plays out. But we are basically saying, Thayer Munford, you are the guy. You're the guy to hold down this right side. And the biggest thing with the offensive line is you're only as good as your weakest link. It could just take one guy to miss his block, and now Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew are now is sacked for a 5-7 yard loss. And now it just makes it that much harder for the defense or the offense to sustain drives and continue drives. And so when it comes to the offensive line, you're only as good as your weakest link. And so Thayer Munford has to have a breakout year. He's got to prove that we're okay with not picking up a top right tackle and slotting him in to solidify this offensive line. Because if he can produce and all the rest of our offensive line continue to thrive and produce at a high level, I do think that Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be a good left guard. That's where they have him slotted as of right now. Even as a rookie, I think he has potential to be good. Andre James is going to be a good center coming back in. Dylan Parham, now that we move him over to the right side, this shows him on the left, but I think he's going to play on the right side next to Thayer Munford. I believe that's kind of where they have him slotted. Moving him over to the right side where he had a lot of success a couple of years ago, I think it's going to be great. And as long as Colton Miller can show that he can get over this injury that's been lingering him this past offseason and kind of the tail end of last year, I think this offensive line can be very exciting to watch and can do a really good job protecting the quarterback and open up running lanes for the running backs. But again, that's if Thayer Munford can be that guy, can be that right tackle, can prove that it was okay not picking a right tackle first round of this year's draft and going with Thayer Munford. So, all right, and one of the guys I think has to have a breakout season this year on the offensive side of the ball is Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer, I think, is going to establish himself as really our blocking tight end. Brock Bowers, I think, is going to be kind of our Swiss Army knife. He's going to do a lot of things. But if we're going to run behind one tight end, it's going to be Michael Mayer. And there's been reports coming out that he's gained 16 pounds in the offseason, which is huge. 16 pounds is a big difference. That could play a huge role in his ability to take on some of those bigger defensive ends, those down linemen, getting to those linebackers. And what we've heard coming out of training camp is he hasn't really lost much speed. And so not only is he going to be huge in the blocking game when it comes to the run game, but I also think he's now going to get the attention of possibly that fifth defender. You got Devonta Adams, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, Trey Tucker. You got four guys that the defense has to watch out for. Now, Michael Mayer is going to get the fifth attention. He's going to get the attention of that fifth defender. And Michael Mayer, one of the things that we knew out of college coming out of Notre Dame is that he could be a really good pass-catching tight end. And this is where Luke Getsy is going to have a hell of a time kind of making up those mismatches, right? He's going to try to create those matches and find where can we take advantage of the defense. And when this defense is scrambling to figure out who's going to guard Devonta Adams, who's going to guard Jacoby Myers, who's going to guard Trey Tucker, and now who's going to guard Brock Bowers, depending on where he lines up. That's one of the best things about Brock Bowers is you can line him up anywhere on the field. You can line him up in the slot, out wide as a traditional wide tight end, sitting down with his hand in the dirt. He could be an H-back. He could be lining up in the backfield. He could line up anywhere on this defense, and where guys can kind of get screwed up in their assignments. And I want to see a lot of motion out of Luke Getsy, because as you create motion, now the defense is forced to communicate, to talk, and this is where they can kind of screw their assignments up. And one guy that can get lost in the mix is Michael Mayer. And I think Michael Mayer not only um, his ability to now potentially help in the run game. And I think he's embraced that role by gaining the 16 pounds, being that blocking tight end, but he's going to be a mismatch to a lot of these fourth and fifth defenders. That Luke Getsy can kind of find that mismatch. And so I'm excited. I think Michael Mayer, if in order to get the best potential out of this offense, I think Michael Mayer is one of the guys that needs to have a breakout season. So I'm excited to see kind of how he's used and how we develop him during this training camp preseason, and kind of going into these first, I want to say 3-4 games, to kind of see how Michael Mayer kind of fits within this system and what kind of attention he's going to get from these defenses, because I think he can be a mismatch nightmare to these defensive coordinators, because he's going to be the last guy you think about when you talk about guarding some of these pass catching tight ends on these pass plays. And so I'm excited. I think Michael Mayer needs to have a breakout season, not only in the run game and his ability to block, but also in the passing game. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Michael Mayer can do. Again, guys, these are the top guys that I think need to have a breakout season on the offensive side of the ball in order for us to get the full potential of our offense. And so I think Luke Getsy is gonna run a very well-rounded offense. I think the run pass balance is going to be basically 50-50. I think it's going to be extremely balanced. And so in order to do so, every single one of these pieces got to work. And in my opinion, it definitely starts with the offensive line. So there, Mumford has to produce. And so I'm excited. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Who do you think? Who do you think is going to be the breakout player of this offense this coming season? Do you think it is going to be one of these guys I just mentioned? Maybe a Trey Tucker? Maybe is it a Brock Bowers as a rookie? Do you think Brock Bowers is going to have a breakout season in this 2024 year? So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you sticking with me. Again, please like this video, subscribe, turn those notifications. Next giveaway, 4,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button if you want to be included in this one and all my future giveaways. So I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out.